Everybody, it's Sharon here from Content Sparks, and welcome to our live training today that will be all about how to customize your white label courses, 3 steps. And yes, I will be using ChatGPT in part of this because I know a lot of you are interested in how you can use it for customizing your courses. So if you even know what ChatGPT is and if you've heard of it before, drop a comment in the comment box, depending on where you're watching. It should be underneath. Just say, yes, I want to see ChatGPT, or what is ChatGPT? GPT, and I'll show you some tricks and shortcuts you can use, including some prompts that you can use to help you with customizing your courses. But I'm going to go through 3 steps for customizing, the 3 most important steps to do. And then as part of that, I'll show you what our new launch is that just came out today, which is all about, or it's called Lead Generation Accelerator. So it's all about putting together a practical action plan for lead generation. So it's particularly for businesses that have been struggling with lead generation, with things that they've been trying so far and they haven't really worked out. And get together a really strong action plan. So it's important to know that, and I will show you that, and I'll show the inside of various parts of the material. But I do want to just dive in and go straight into how to customize your courses in general with showing you that other stuff. Okay. And I see Bridget says, yes, you want to see the Chat GPT prompts. So this is a work in progress, the Chat GPT prompts, because I'm sure if you've heard of it at all, then you know that it's evolving every day. This has just taken us by storm, and no, there's no such thing as an expert on this, but I've been playing with it for quite a bit so far and seen where it's helpful and where it's not helpful. So once I have enough that I feel I can really give you a better handle on that, I will do another session on that as well. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen right now, and I actually have some slides, but I'll be switching around between screens and Coursebook and online Chat GPT and all different things. So just bear with me. So let's start with here. This is just the sales page for the course that launched today, Lead Generation Accelerator for Small Businesses. This is the one I'm going to use for getting some of the ideas using the different prompts from ChatGPT. And the sales page for that, if you didn't see it in your email, is just contentsparks.com/lead gen strategies. Okay, so I'll show that again later, but that's what it is, and it should be in your email as well if you're on my email list, which hopefully you are. All right, and now I'm going to switch over to my slides, which are here. So let me know if you can't see that, because I did these slides in Canva. I did not create the script for this from ChatGPT, as I think you will be able to tell as well. All right, so I'm gonna go back and forth. Andrea says, I use it all the time, but always here to learn more. There is so much to learn with it. I'm always learning more as well. And I belong to a AI Success Club as well, where I'm learning a lot. And I'm going to have someone from that come do a presentation next month. Okay. All right. So you can see this. And let me just also make sure I have some of my notes as well. So we did just release this course. I told you that, told you what we're going to go through. So I'll skip over. If you're not already familiar with white label courses, I hope you are, because you're on this. It's what we specialize in. I've had about over 30 years now in creating courses for corporate and small businesses and entrepreneurs. So I have training in what makes a good learning experience. So I've been doing this for a long time. We create all the content for you. We go through the whole process of researching and creating an outline and doing the research of what's a good like that. A lot of things that you cannot get out of ChatGPT. At least we can get ideas and then see what's good and what isn't from our own expertise and from mine in particular. But it's content that you can then repurpose, edit however you want. It's all organized and formatted for you. You add your branding, customize it to fit your needs, and focus on your own insights and expertise and adding that in as well. Okay, so that's what white label courses are all about. And the customizing of them is really, really important because it's what makes you stand out from the crowd. And this is going to be important in everything you do in the past, in the future, particularly with AI coming into play, which is no matter how specific you are, it's very difficult to make it personal to you. You have to add your own personality to it. So, and there's nobody that can replace you and what you put into any sort of course. It'll help it resonate with your audience, which gives you better conversions and better learning. When you add in more relatable examples for your target audience, it makes it more personal to them, like you're speaking to them. And you also want to do multiple media and repurposing into different media like audio and video as well as text, because that will make it more accessible to everyone and also make it a better learning experience, a more effective learning experience. So people that just take things as is, like one of our courses, and just publish it online and then don't do much else to it, are not going to get the same results either in sales, but especially in the student learning experience. So you just won't see the results if you take it as is. You need to customize it. All right. So, and I know you all want your students, your clients to be as successful as possible. So there are three key steps to customizing your courses. One is to clarify your target audience. I know you hate hearing this over and over and over again because I always say it. And it's in like all our courses, some more than others. And we have a separate course just on that in your ideal customer profile and another one on target audience, niche market match, all that stuff. Really important to do, and you can do it over and over again because you always refine it. So that's going to be your first most important step to customizing. And you probably already have some idea of who your target audience is, who your clients are, your target audience for your courses. Then you need to adapt the course content to that audience and to your needs for that. And then you have to customize your delivery. Just flop it up online and goodbye, here, everybody come buy it from me. That's really important. So those are your three key steps. And we will just dive right in. I want to try and be as concise as possible so that I can show you stuff too. So, like I said, clarify target audience, have to do it every time. It may not be different for each course you do, but you're always going to get new insights, and you need to create a student persona for that particular course because it's going to be a little different depending on the topic. So there's things like, you've heard before, demographics, like age and income, occupation, gender, marital status, race, where they live, religion, all those things tie in. Psychographics, there are things like their challenges, dreams, desires, struggles, behavior, all that stuff. The language that they use, that's going to be important. A lot of that you can get just from talking to your customers and your clients and your target audience and going into Facebook groups and places like that and seeing how people are talking and getting ideas from that. And you can ask ChatGPT as well, but doesn't replace actually talking to people. So create one specifically for the course you're working on. So for example, with the one on lead generation, it would be different for, say, a real estate broker versus a healthcare professional versus an e-commerce store. So one-to-one, one-to-many, online versus in person. Different business models need different lead generation. So the challenges are going to be different for each. And the language they use is going to be different also, like prospect versus lead versus potential client. Those are the sorts of things you need to get into your persona so that you know how you're going to have to customize your course. All right. And starting point. So here's where you can get ChatGPT to help. All right. So I listed 3 different prompts here, and I'll show you what ChatGPT came up with for I used real estate broker and specifically commercial real estate broker in Los Angeles for the target audience. Um, so you put in your profession, like real estate broker, and what's your niche? Commercial real estate in Los Angeles, something like that. You can say, who is my target audience and what are their challenges and desires? Then you can drill down to, okay, what are some questions they would have about lead generation? What kind of student profile or avatar could you give me for a course on lead generation, whatever your topic is, for a person with the challenges and desires you listed? So ChatGPT will remember what you've done. And let me head over to the one. I did this chat in advance because sometimes it takes time for it to generate, especially with longer answers. So here's what I did. And can you see this? Let me know. Just say whether you can see it or not. You should be able to see the Chat GPT screen in there. It's showing up on my screen, so just if you can't see it, please let me know. So I'm actually using GPT-4 on this one because that's the one I think everyone's going to be using very soon. Right now, the free version is 3.5, and you can pay to get GPT Plus, which will give you access to the GPT-4. But I know that's going to be changing soon, I'm sure. And I think I pay like $10 a month, something like that. But you can use the 3.5. I have a drop down button on the top. You can't see it right now, but it will let you pick. All right. So you might get better results from GPT-4 versus 3.5, but I don't think, use what you have and then refine it. So here I put in, I'm a real estate broker in the commercial real estate market in Los Angeles. Who is my target audience and what are their struggles and desires? So this is all about refining your target audience. And it answered, as a commercial real estate broker in Los Angeles, your target audience would include, and it's got business owners and entrepreneurs and a little description. These are individuals looking to either buy, rent, or lease commercial space for their business. Their struggles may include finding suitable locations that fit their budget and that are in areas suitable for their type of business. So this is more general stuff, not related specifically to lead generation, because I'm just refining the target audience here. So I could have worded it as, what are their challenges and desires around lead generation, and I would have gotten more specific. Bridget, you said it's a little bit small. I don't think I can really make this any bigger, unfortunately. But I have the prompts in the slide, so you'll be able to see those in the replay, and I could send them as well. Um, Part of the problem is this thing at the bottom. I have this ARPRM, but you can see enough. So then we've got investors. That's another group looking for commercial real estate as an investment, and says struggles might be understanding market trends, property. So it goes through 5 different ones, and I didn't even ask it how many. You can ask it how many. And then the next question was, what are some questions my target audience might have about lead generation? And it answered, your target audience composed of business owners, entrepreneurs, investors. So it remembered, it listed from the previous one. Here are some possible questions. What is lead generation in real estate? So remember, I specifically said what are questions they'd have about lead generation, because that's the topic of the course. So what are the most effective lead generation strategies? How can I leverage digital marketing for lead generation? How can I qualify leads? How can I convert leads into clients? How can CRM tools assist me? What's the role of content marketing in lead generation? So a lot of these are very broad questions, but it's good to understand what they're asking because you might want to have some live sessions. You can do blog posts out of that. You can do follow-up courses. It gives you some ideas around that. I could ask what kinds of courses to do. How much should I expect to spend on lead generation? These are also extra questions to keep in mind that you could add on to a course when you're customizing it. So you could have dedicated group sessions afterwards. So keep all those sorts of things in mind, how you can address these questions when you get to actually customizing the course. Um, and the next one was, okay, what kind of student profile or avatar could you give me for a course on lead generation strategies for a commercial real estate broker in Los Angeles who has the challenges and desires and questions you listed. Again, I've told it to go back. And it gave me an example with a lot of detail. I didn't even tell it what to put in. So it's always going to be drawing from past internet content on what should I put into a student profile. I could tell it exactly what I want, which categories, but it's going to draw from the internet. Now, is it correct as to what to put in? That you'd have to check. You have to check all that stuff. ChatGPT will often produce stuff that is wrong, it made up, or it's pulling from bad sources. So you have to be the expert and decide what to use, what not to use. All right, so it said name David Thompson. Okay, so it's decided to do a man, 35. This is just an example of a student profile. So if you wanted to refine it, you could say, okay, make it for women who are in their 50s. Yeah, stuff like that to refine it more. This is just one example. So it has background. It's an ambitious and forward-thinking commercial real estate broker. This is not necessarily your target student, but it gives you an idea and you could ask it to refine it. Current challenges. Despite his experience, David finds lead generation be a persistent challenge. I think you could probably say that about everyone in business, every small business, every solo entrepreneur, everyone starting out, you name it. He struggles to consistently attract high quality leads, feels current strategies aren't effective enough, all very general. Um, Hard to keep up with rapidly changing digital marketing landscape. That's a little bit more specific, but also everyone deals with that. Struggles to measure the success. So it goes on. Desires, he wants to become more proficient at lead generation. Again, we're getting a little bit vague. So this is where, you know what, this is a great example, but you really need to talk to people to get down deeper. And then it has some questions that he would have. What are the most, they're kind of the same as the previous ones. Qualified leads, learning preferences, a mix of learning methods. It's other relevant information. He's tech savvy, opening to trying new tools and strategies. So this is all, again, kind of general, but if you're specific about asking and give it more data, as you get more data, then you can refine that. It can help you refine it. But your judgment has to go in here. And then I said, what types? Oh, this is, I'll go to the next one in a second. Let me go back because that's going on to the next slide. So where am I? Here. So you should be back on the slides now. So we talked about target audience and the prompts that I used for that. All right. William, thanks for sharing. It's chat.openai.com. So MJ asked where you could get it. You have to sign up for it. It is free right now for the 3.5 for the lower level ones. I don't know what they'll be doing in the future about paid. There's so many different tools tapping into ChatGPT that it's hard to decide what to pay attention to and what to look at. Everyone has told me different favorite tools that tap into the ChatGPT interface, and I can't try them all. I just sort of pick, and so far the ones I've tried I haven't loved, and I've liked ChatGPT because it feels like a conversation, and there's no limits to it. So a lot of the tools I've looked at have like a 10,000 word limit to how much you can generate. So if you ask the wrong questions, you're stuck, you're out of words, and you have to pay more. So I'm sure there's going to be more in the next month, 2 months, 3 months, and the good ones will refine and the bad ones will fall by the wayside. And that's just new technology. So that was a side note. So that was target audience. Now let's go on to the next one. I just need to grab my notes here. So I'm all over the place. So the next step, step 2, is adapting the course content. And this is, to me, a place where ChatGPT will help you a lot. But again, you have to be the judge and put you into it, because you don't know whether it will be right or wrong unless you add your own personality or your own expertise, your own judgment to it. ChatGPT doesn't think, decide, discern. It will give you information. I was on a training about it just recently, actually just before this call, and one of the things that the presenter said was it's like a hardworking, reasonably competent assistant. So you have to treat it that way, give it really hyper specific instructions, check all its work, and don't let it make decisions for you. All right. So that was a good analogy that I liked. So looking at adapting the course content, the main things that you want to look at, you're always going to add your branding to it, right? You have to change the title and subtitle, make sure it's in line with the content, but also with your audience. You want to look at the language, again, that your audience is using and make changes in there. Add examples that are relatable to your audience and additional content that's going to help them. So, a title could be things like prospecting basics for commercial real estate brokers, if they use the word prospecting, how to attract new patients for your addiction therapy practice, because they use patients, e-commerce lead gen for Etsy crafters. So, if you're working with Etsy. So let us go over to Chat GPT now, and I'll show you some different things you can do. First, for title. So I have to switch over. I told you I'm going to be all over the screen, right? Here we go. Okay. So you should now be able to see. I know it's small, but here we're going to look at some of the things. So the next thing I asked it was, here, actually, I didn't show you on the slide, did I? Let me show you the prompts that I'm going to ask it as well. Here. Okay. So there. These are the prompts I'm going to ask. I'm going to say, actually, go back one. I've lost the thing. Okay, here we go. Now you should be able to see the adapt course content, the initial prompts. So I'm going to ask, what types of tone, writing style, and language should I use when I write my course on whatever your topic is, so lead generation, for whoever your target audience is. So I'm using this commercial real estate brokers in Los Angeles. And then I said, what are 10 alternate titles for my course on? Okay, what's a specific course topic and audience? Again, you want to make sure it's customized to your audience, and you want to get some different titles. Then what are some examples of, okay, now you can take a specific topic in the course, like one section, that work well for your audience. And then can you list 10 ideas for helpful resources I can give students in my lesson on? So here you could pick one specific lesson in the course that will help them implement their learning rather, because that's where you can add a lot of value as well. Anything where you can add some resources that are going to help them with implementing their learning. Because remember, I said it's about your branding. I don't think we need to discuss that you're going to change colors, logo, fonts, all that stuff. Title, language, examples, and additional content. All right. How are we doing so far? Everybody following along with this? So far, so good. All right, let's go over back to that screen again. And here's the chat that I'm doing. All right. So I've got in here, we've got what types of tone, writing style, and language should I use when I write the content for my course on lead generation for real estate brokers in Los Angeles? And it gave some general things. It said writing an effective course requires clear communication, blah, 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 blah. It writes it kind of like it's an essay. So it says tone, you should be professional but approachable to build rapport, but also friendly, engaging, motivational, because it can be difficult to learn new strategies, practical and actionable, should be designed to equip your students with real actionable strategies. So I would want to drill down on that and say, well, what do you mean? What types of words would mean? Give me some examples, because otherwise, that's very vague again. But that's good to know for when you rewrite something, to tell ChatGPT, okay, rewrite this to be more compelling, to be more motivational, to be more concise, because it says be clear and concise. These are really kind of basic stuff you would want in any course. Break it down into manageable sections, so you could ask it to do that. Interactive, that's a great one to be asking, okay, what are some ideas what are some questions I can ask? So particularly when you have a course like ones that are basically text and slides, and you want to make them more interactive, you are the one who has to make it interactive personally. That will make you stand out. And for that, you can get questions, get ideas for questions from ChatGPT that you can ask in a discussion, in a Q&A. So you can get ideas for extra content, very specific to your audience, questions specific to your audience. All that sort of things are add-ons that you're not going to get elsewhere. And when you are actually running a discussion and using your expertise, it's going to make you stand out again. Language, make it accessible, relevant, action-oriented. Yeah, of course. Right. So then I asked, what are 10 alternate titles I can use for a course on lead generation strategies for commercial real estate brokers? So it gave me a bunch of things, and you're going to notice something here where you're never going to want to use these exactly, but it will get your brain cells firing a bit, because ChatGPT tends to use the same words a lot. So you're going to, and because it's pulling again from a database where people do use the same words. So you might see a title of a course and say, oh, they used AI for that. But in reality, people tend to use the same words. And you could say on the negative side, oh, they're all the same. But on the plus side, yeah, it's going to resonate with people because that's what they're used to. So there's pros and cons. Really, you want to disrupt things a little by using some words that they're not used to, but also using words that they'll resonate with. So we've got in here, Mastering Lead Generation in Commercial Real Estate, a complete guide. Nothing is ever a complete guide to me, so I would never use that. The Art of Attraction, Innovative Lead Generation for Commercial Real Estate Brokers. Well, that only works if you really feel you're being innovative, which is very rare. Transform Your Real Estate Business, Effective Lead Generation Strategies. Commercial real estate lead generation from basics to mastery. I'm not loving any of these. Unlocking success. You're always going to see people using unlocking. Proven strategies. All this stuff, works, but you're going to want to maybe mix it up. I like from contact to contract. That's a little bit different. lead generation for real estate professionals because that's bringing in, contract is a little bit different. It's got alliteration. The broker's blueprint, that's a little bit different as well. So at this point, you could ask ChatGPT to give you 10 more creative ideas that don't use the word unlock or master or blueprint. So tell it what to not use. Tell it to use alliteration. Give it some more specific things that you like, and then you'll get something a little more creative. And then we've got okay, I asked, what are some examples of lead generation strategies that work well for a commercial real estate broker in Los Angeles? So we're being very specific. And it's giving things that are more specific to commercial real estate. Networking, referrals, online marketing, social media. Some of these are obviously applicable to anyone, but here it says social media. LinkedIn in particular can be an effective platform for commercial real estate. Share your content, participate in relevant groups. So that part of stuff on the implementation is the same you'll hear. But you can see how you might adjust some of the things in the course to use slightly different wording, maybe stress one thing versus another. So when it comes to social media and talking about that, you can stress more LinkedIn versus, say, TikTok. CRM software, you might do a little bit more on that, but you as the expert can go through and say, oh no, I'm not going to talk about cold calling in because that doesn't work any longer because ChatGPT pulled that out of the database. Maybe it does, but you as an expert can say, no, I'm not going to talk about that. And there's a bunch of other stuff like partnerships, forming partnerships with local businesses who have the same target audience. Maybe as an experienced person in real estate that that's a really great way to get leads. So you might want to stress that more. So again, it's helping you get ideas for examples that you can then put into the course. And then I said, I want you to drill down more. So I said, how would those be different for a commercial real estate broker specifically operating in Los Angeles? And that produced some interesting results because it is a different sort of city. New York is one way, Los Angeles is another, Denver would be another. So it says things like Los Angeles has a vibrant business community. The networking's kind of the same. Positive word of mouth. It really isn't doing that much that's different here. It says geo-targeting features with Google Ads, CRM software partnerships. So this is interesting. These could include local law firms, construction companies, or even local architects and interior designers, listing websites. None of this is actually really that specific to Los Angeles. I think I had asked it before about this in a different conversation when I was testing this out, and it did talk about looking at the entertainment industry and, focusing some of your content on that. So it comes up with different stuff depending on how you word the question. So that was kind of interesting. In terms of additional content, I said, can you suggest 10 ideas for helpful resources I can give students in my lesson on using partnerships? So I drilled down to one lesson for lead generation that will help them implement their learning. And it came up with some different things. Some of them would be much more time consuming to create than others. Some you might be able to get ChatGPT to help with, at least for a first draft. Things like a list of potential partners could be interesting if you work in a very specific area. You could have a list of different types of businesses, maybe not the exact businesses. A sample partnership agreement, that would be really helpful if you're working with, real estate brokers who are going to want to do partnerships. What kind of agreement details should they put in? These are all things, again, that are specific to your expertise that's customizing the course so that's helpful for your target audience. Nobody else is going to have something like this, even though you might be using a white label course to start with. So these are all things that are going to make it more valuable. And even if you get ChatGPT to help you create them, you're adding value because you're putting your thinking into what's going to work best for your audience, for your students, what's going to help them most. And it's all can speed up. In fact, some of this will actually take you longer, but it'll add more quality to your course. Webinar podcasts, you could do tools for partnership management. That would be a really helpful extra resource. Scripts, book recommendations, all that kind of stuff is really helpful. And that brings us on. Obviously, I think you can see that there are other ways. Now, when it comes to actually picking examples, I want to just hop over to the course book for a minute and show you another little trick for this. So, the new course that we just launched, Lead Generation Accelerator for Small Businesses. And you can see the table of contents. We structured this, we did the research, and then we structured it based on an audience of people who already have a business and know their target audience for the most part, but you always want to refine it, and are struggling to get leads, need that practical action plan. So they already have some familiarity with lead generation strategies. And you'll see that there's an introduction. Um, it goes through, you have to identify where lead generation fits into your business. We talk about the customer lifecycle marketing model, which is something we created a while ago and is unique to us, but is the same sort of concepts you'll see elsewhere, but we structured it into our own model of attract, motivate, delight. So it goes through where it fits in there, because that ties nicely to that course also and to other courses. So it can be a structure for a curriculum. And the big thing in here is it talks about different business models needing different strategies. So I mentioned that before, depending on your niche, and you might have a variety of people. A lot of our customers aren't focusing on one very specific niche, like I'm using as my example, that real estate brokers in Los Angeles. You might have other people as well. So it talks about different models, how they work. Some of your customers may have more than one business model as well. They might be a coach as well as say, have an online store. So it goes through that. They do some self-reflection on all of that. You look at, again, clarifying their ideal customer and doing a little research on that and how they stand out. And then there's a lot on matching your strategy to your business model. So it goes through some proven strategies. You can expand those if you need to for your audience, but I would suggest you do that as bonus courses or follow-on ones for the people who want to focus on just one strategy. Otherwise, this becomes a course that is a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks long, and they haven't gotten to any sort of action plan. So they're busy learning about all these strategies, and yet they haven't really learned. So they're going to put together, get a sense of what the different strategies are if they don't already, so they can pick what is best for their business model. And then they can go and get into more specifics. So this is, again, where you have to make judgment calls about what's going to be the best learning experience for your audience. And from our experience doing this for so many years, I know that it would be too much to go into a lot of detail on this at this point. But it does give a high level view of each one of them. And then there's stuff on qualifying leads. So there are different ways to do that, like lead scoring. There's a lot on that and other qualifying methods, need, budget, location. So you need to be thinking about that as well in lead generation and measurement. Excuse me, I'm talking so fast. I need to have a sip of water. Um, and there will be a replay for this. And then choosing your best fit. I love this model, this section of the course, because it goes into a bunch of different models that you can use as examples, what will work for you. So we've got a business model of one-to-one, B2C life coaching business and a whole bunch of stuff here. And these are great opportunities to tweak them to your audience if they're not quite on target. So you could take one of these, there are, I think, 8. You can see it's a couple different pages. There's a high level and a graphic, and then there's the detail. So top strategies, useful resources, ways to qualify. And then we've got business model B2C e-commerce store. We've got B2C subscription business, all these different things. You could take one like this and take the outline and go into ChatGPT and say, can you rewrite this or refine this to be specific to X business, whatever that particular business is, and see what it comes up with. It may be a complete mess. I didn't try that particular one, but you can give it a try. And the way to make it quickest to come up with different examples is I go to the beginning of the book, and I'm just focusing on the course book here just because it has the most content in it. And I go into, on the top, there is a thing that says find. All right. I'm going to put find. It opens up a pane on the left, and I'm going to put in example. And it will come up and highlight every place where it has the word example. You need to look at that example and decide whether it's relevant to your target audience or relevant to people who are going to take your course. And also, if you have multiple types of people taking your course, different industries, do you need extra examples? And then you can go into ChatGPT and give me another example for XYZ. So we've got, you can just click through, there's like, here's 2 examples, offer this differentiation. So just go through and look at all of those. Not all of them. Like here, is it worth paying? You can pay for advertising, for example, on social media or for search engine ranking, but this can be costly and difficult to get right. I would just leave that. The thing is, there's so many that you need to just scroll through and see what stands out as being not relevant, or you're going to be spending all day on this. Just try and pick out ones that will really work for you. Same with if they use different language, like if it uses the word client and your students use the word customer. So instead, you can just go through for that kind of thing and do a big search and replace. So clients, 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 we've used everywhere. And you can just go into the replace function and tell it to replace client with customer everywhere. And you can check it with each one, or you can just do replace all. So that's a useful thing also for customizing. All right. We good so far? Following along? I like using that trick of the find and replace. Let us go back again to the slides so I can see where I am at this point. So we went into adapt course content, tone, writing style, helpful resources. Now, what is next on our list? So the next one is, I had a kind of a bonus one in here for rewriting something. And I said, can you rewrite this introduction to my course to make it more compelling and conversational? Add some more vivid imagery and metaphors where appropriate. And then you paste in the text for that particular, for that section. And then I didn't like it completely, the answer. So I said, now can you tweak it so it will resonate with, and you put in your target audience. And I still didn't love it. So I did one more, is can you rewrite it again to be more conversational? Because it was still too formal, even though I told it conversational. So let us look at what that showed me. Let's see. Here. I think I did it towards the end. Pros and cons of the method. Okay, that's delivery. I'll go back to that in a second. Here. Okay, so I said, can you see this? Can you rewrite this introduction? You should be able to see that now. Yeah. So it looks a bit of a mess. I always press Control Enter to put the stuff on the next line. But what I did is I took the first paragraph from the course book or from the introduction, because I always like to look at the introduction and tweak that because it's the way you're going to bring people in your course and really engage them for everything. So I needed ideas for that. So I'll go back again. So it rewrote it the first time. My first question was the rewrite the introduction to make it more compelling, use vivid imagery, etc. And it came up with a lot of imagery and stuff, like imagine your business as a well-oiled machine humming along the highway of commerce. Ooh, it'll pick things that you've heard in the past. Lead generation is the high-octane fuel that propels your enterprise forward, bringing you closer to your ultimate destination, consistent growth and profitability. Well, that's a lot more interesting than what I had before. For many entrepreneurs, well, we were talking about real estate brokers, so I forgot about that. Especially those steering the ship of a small business. So we just talked about humming along the highway, and now we're doing steering the ship of a small business. Don't mix your metaphors. Let's just, you might want to tell it, even though I told it to only use it when appropriate, you want it to use it sparingly. So this is where I wouldn't use it that way. And again, you have to use your judgment. So it's got steering the ship of the small business, navigating the winding road of lead generation, can feel like a daunting uphill battle. Okay, we've had 3 metaphors so far. Limited resources and tight budgets often compound the challenge, making the journey seem all the more treacherous. So some of that you can use. This is the point where I'd probably go back and use the initial stuff and then just pull in some of these bits that sound interesting. Like I like limited resources and tight budget can compound the challenge. I like the daunting uphill battle. So you pick what you like. However, the moment you uncover the exact formula, the GPS coordinates, if you will, that align perfectly with your business's unique landscape, you found the express lane to a steady stream of new prospects. So this is kind of interesting. There's more in here, fuel and stuff like that, but you can see how whatever you put in will determine what you put out, but it doesn't have the judgment to know what is really good writing or not. So be careful about that. And then it says instead the golden key to winning this race, which also doesn't go together. You don't have a key to winning a race. Um, I've asked it to use metaphors and it's overdone it. But again, you can pull stuff out of there. So then I asked it, now can you tweak it so it resonates with commercial real estate brokers in Los Angeles? And it changed it. Imagine you're a commercial real estate broker in the sprawling metropolis of Los Angeles, where every building is a potential gold mine and every handshake could spark $1 million deal. That's kind of interesting. Then it's going to start getting into all that extra metaphors, but it's got some good ones. Labyrinthine city, I can't even pronounce it, of real estate, can feel like trying to find a specific star in the LA night sky. So pick and choose what ideas. And then I thought it was still a little uh, too formal and stuff, so I wanted it conversational because then you could use it like a script for your slides because we do take the stuff and put it in. So it says, so picture this, you're a real estate broker in Los Angeles, a city where opportunities are as plentiful as stars on Hollywood Boulevard. In this bustling cityscape, lead generation is like your trusty GPS, always pointing you towards the next big deal. So I don't know if you speak that way. If you wanted to use it as a script, probably not, but it's going to give you a little bit more, a little less formal thing. So you can see now I've spent a bit of time just rewriting the introduction. So you're going to need to pick and choose how you do it and focus on the bits where it really doesn't resonate with you, or you want to have a little more pizzazz in there, a little more imagery, color, conversational stuff. So I would use it that way. All right. So I'm gonna head back again because we are moving along and I'm already spending more time than I had planned. But you get into this stuff and it gets interesting, right? So let's go back. So I'm on the course content. Let's go into the course delivery because you do want to customize it. I talked a little bit about that earlier, that's how you add value. Um, you can do it live, you can do it self-paced. Self-paced would be something like putting a bunch of videos onto a course platform like New Zenler or Teachable. Live would be just doing some webinars. You get a lot more interaction that way. You can answer a lot of questions, but not everyone can attend. Self-paced, you have that flexibility of people being able to do it when they want, but everyone's at a different point in the learning when it's self-paced. So if you do come together, people are asking questions in different, they don't have a cohort group. They're at different points. Blended learning is the preferred way. Some people call it hybrid, but blended learning is where you can cater to different learning preferences. You have a bit of both live and self-paced and any other media. It's much, much more effective for learning and results. But you don't have to do it immediately from the start because one of the key things I want you to do with our courses is get something up really quickly. So if that means doing some very short webinars or one webinar for one module just to get started, do that and then gradually add on other things. So starting live is usually the quickest way and the way you'll get the most feedback for then customizing your courses further. Because once you spend the time on doing too much text and then you get feedback that it's not quite on target, it's going to take you that much longer to change it. So that's my preference for you to do. I'll talk about getting up quickly to that as well. And you'll see that we give you slides for that. So you'll see I can open that up actually, in the lead gen strategies course, in the instructor materials, you get a slideshow that you can use. And it will look like this with notes underneath. So you can easily use these as a starting point. All right. I've tried to get ChatGPT to create my slides for me. It hasn't worked yet. Maybe at some point, I'm hoping to help speed things up. There's still formatting and judgment calls and all that sort of thing that goes into it. So it's still time consuming. But we go through this and you can just grab one section if you wanted and do a short little intro to that. But it's much easier to go in and edit this kind of thing and do something live versus doing the whole course book straight away. So that's what the slides look like. All right, we've kept them pretty simple, which makes them easier to edit. And let's go back again. All right, so customize and delivery. How can we use ChatGPT to help with that? Well, there are a few different ways. So I put together some prompts for that. And I first said, okay, what would be the best way to deliver the course we've been talking about? Because guess what? It remembers what you've been talking about. And then what are the pros and cons of each one so that you can make a judgment of which one you think would be best. Though, again, ChatGPT is pulling from the internet, the pros and cons may not be really what the pros and cons are. And then you can say, I'm going with whatever the method is you're going with. What are some questions I could ask in a group discussion on, and then pick out a specific topic of one lesson, like say qualifying leads was one of the lessons, or measuring results, or I can't remember now, picking different strategies to fit your business model. And then I said, what would be some good poll questions to ask in my intro webinar for the course? So that can be, you're starting out, you want to do icebreakers. So you can ask questions like that. So when I ask ChatGPT that, let's see what it came up with. And I promise this is the last one I'm going to do so that we can move along and I can show you a couple things in the course itself that launched today. So I'm going to scroll back up to where I started this question. And here I said, okay, great. What would be the best way for me to deliver the full course we've been talking about? And it gave me, I didn't ask for a specific number, but it gave me a few different ones, which are just standard types of ways to deliver training: online course platforms, live webinars, blended learning. It's a combination of in-person workshops or seminars. It combines online learning with in-person workshops and seminars. Actually, it can combine other things as well, so it's not really accurate there. Private website or membership site, email course, what it can involve, and a learning management system. It said Moodle or Blackboard. You would want to pick something. And actually, an LMS often is something corporate world uses that you need a different type of file format to upload to, something called SCORM. So again, it's not giving you all the information you need. But it does say, in any case, make sure to include plenty of resources and opportunities for students to engage with the material. Great. What are the pros and cons of the methods you listed? And it went through pros: online course, reach the platforms, have a larger user base. Well, again, that's actually, yeah, lots of people are using something like Teachable, but they don't have a marketplace where everyone is actually seeing your course. So you're not getting a wide reach just from that. So again, judgment, check it. Don't trust ChatGPT, but it'll give you ideas. Students can learn at their own pace. Yes, competition can be high on popular platforms. Yeah, something like Udemy or Udemy, that one will have more of a marketplace, but it had used Teachable, I think, as an example, which doesn't have the marketplace. But again, this will give you some ideas. Live webinars. So I would, even though I asked it specifically for that course, what are some methods? I would probably refine my prompt to ask what would be the best method for this particular audience and see if it came up with something else. But this will show you some different ways. And then I said, I'm going with blended learning. What are some questions I can ask to facilitate interaction in a group discussion about using partnerships to generate leads? Now, here I've been really specific, so I'm going to get a better answer. So it said facilitating group discussion can lead to valuable insights and sharing of experiences. It likes to give you a benefit first. Here are some questions. So imagine you've just taught a lesson on people building partnerships to generate leads for commercial real estate brokers, and you do a live group session, group Q&A afterwards, and you want to generate some discussion. So it says, can you share an example of a successful partnership you formed in the past? What made it successful? That can be a conversation all in one session. What challenges have you faced when trying to form partnerships? How did you overcome these challenges? Another one that would take, depending on how big the group is, could work. What qualities do you look for in a potential partner? Some of these things could be a prompt on Facebook if you have, or another community, so that you got a thread going there. Um, can you share a time when a partnership didn't go as planned? What lessons did you learn? So all great things that would generate discussion. So I like the way when you're more specific, you do get something more specific. Then I said, what would be some good poll questions to ask in my introduction webinar for the course? And it said things like, what is your level of experience in commercial real estate brokerage? So something like that. Ideally, I would want to find out before someone signed up for the course, more for qualifying people. So I wouldn't ask that in an introductory webinar, like an introduction to the course. What's your primary goal for the course? Yeah, you could ask that. That's a good one for a poll question if you're just starting out the course. You could do that for anything, no matter who your audience is. What's your biggest challenge when it comes to lead generation in commercial real estate? That again is kind of a generic. You don't have to have the real estate thing at the end. You can just have it as a poll question. What's your biggest challenge? So all these are great for great for coming up with ideas for polls. Again, it's going to be really useful when you come to doing a live session in particular. And then I just have that thing on the rewrite. So just going back, I think that was the main thing I wanted to show you. Da, 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 da. Where's my, all right. All right, the last thing I wanted to show you was just talking about how you can do this quickly. Now, we've been an hour, you've gotten a lot of different stuff, different prompts, different ways to customize. And I just, we scratched the surface on some of the things you can do for customizing. You could then buy a course like ours on lead generation, have all the materials set up, and if you're not careful, you can spend the next week fine-tuning, tweaking, customizing, coming up with a different title, and that's with the stuff already created for you. So I don't want you to go down that rabbit hole of just going crazy with customizing stuff. Instead, focus on the who's your target audience, because that is probably the most important thing, and using just those slides and the cheat sheet that we give you. And the cheat sheet is just kind of an outline of the course. It looks like, where is it? And the action guide, actually, I didn't put that on there, but the action guide. So the cheat sheet is just a nice little outline with bullet points. So you just have like a 2-page thing or so on each. And that's a nice handout that you can edit more quickly. And of course, the action guide as well, which is the kind of the worksheets and stuff. So you'll see an action guide that has for the key steps, the action steps for each lesson. It has worksheets that are all formatted for you with the questions and stuff already. So that's all in there. So you would want to use this and the slides that I showed you before, right? Break it up, do one at a time, and that'll be the quickest for you. Just break up the different slides once you added your branding and done any little edits like the title. And then you can record those as video and actually get going right away so that you can, if you put it on a platform, you can start, say, announcing it with a webinar or a live stream to create that connection that you might build in later. Or you don't have to record it. You could just use them live to get up even faster if you're not comfortable recording stuff. So you can just set up on a platform like Zoom or I'm using StreamYard for live into a private group. There are a lot of different options there. I didn't show you this campaign plan. That's an extra thing in the course. I think I have it open already. There, whoops. Yeah, this is a 2-tab thing. This is the action plan that they complete by the end of the course. So they decide on what their resources are, how they're going to qualify their leads, metrics, how they're going to promote their campaign, lead generation campaign, follow up, monitor success, and then put together an action plan based on whatever strategy they put. And that's where you can start doing some bonus courses that go into depth on on specific topics that they might want to know more about. So I said start with the slides and the cheat sheet. That's your first iteration of the course, cheat sheet and action guide. Even if you don't use the cheat sheet, use the action guide, because that's where they're going to take action on stuff. All right. Um, get that up, get that out. You'll need sales page to actually sell it. We give you sales page copy in the upgrade pack, that and module quizzes that you can put at the end of each. You can use that and get ChatGPT to rewrite it. It's going to be tough to do a sales page through ChatGPT for the whole course unless you give it all the details about the course and what you're charging and the scarcity factors and yada, yada, yada. So you have to come up with all of that, and it might be easiest to just use ours and get it to rewrite some stuff and add stories. So I would spend time on that sales page because that's one of the biggest things that's going to make a difference for you to actually sell your courses. Then you can build on from there, build and grow your audience, doing content, live streams, video, podcasts, whatever your audience likes and you're comfortable actually creating. So work on that once you have your first minimum viable course going. And then you can start working on tweaking it and get some feedback from your students, tweak the course, deliver it again. And when you're happy with it, you can make it evergreen so that it's all self-paced, and maybe you have Q&A sessions every week. So that could be a nice blended learning model. And then you start adding more courses and your business grows and grows and grows. But you have to start small if this is going to happen. And I know you want to make it happen or you wouldn't still be here. All right. And finally, there is the course itself. And that is our final bit with the banner. Do you guys want to see the bonuses, the early bird bonuses? Because those are only available until Wednesday, just during this early bird launch period. And I know you guys want to see that. So let me go back and open those up as well. The launch bonuses. I know there's so much stuff. Now, if you've gotten any of our courses in the past, you know we often do this 5-day challenge kit. So we take the opt-in report in the lead generation materials and we make it into a 5-day challenge with daily worksheets. So we've set it up for you to make it easy to actually deliver a challenge via email or live stream or any other way you want to do it. And it's set up with placeholders as well for different things. And you can just tweak that again based on what makes sense for you and your audience. So you'll see that, and you'll see as a launch bonus just in the next few days, along with worksheets that you would attach or hand out for each one. All right, so like day one worksheet, the challenge is 5 easy ways to generate leads for your business. So you have them across 5 days, do a little something on each day. Like choose a piece of content that's easy and fast to repurpose into a lead magnet that'll provide value. And they work on doing that and decide where they're going to do that kind of thing. But the other big, and people love our challenges because it's such an easy way to build an audience and very, very personal. The other thing is a planner. Now, this is a lead generation campaign planner. It comes in PowerPoint with in A4 and US letter size, with a cover letter size if you want to make this a printable one. And it comes in Canva. So this is the PowerPoint version. So if you don't like Canva, you can edit this. I think it's 55 pages, and it steps through the different things for creating your lead generation campaign, your qualification process, metrics, promotion, all of that. So this will end up being a paid thing afterwards because it's so big. And then it also comes in Canva, which I think I can open up. It's going to be just a link. Here, let me bring it over here so you can see. Where was I? So you'll get a link to a letter size and an A4 size, and then you'll be able to open it up. It'll be a template, and you'll have to say use template. So it'll make a copy of it that you'll want to rename. And then it's all laid out here with placeholders for pictures. You can delete pages if they don't make sense. You can change colors, add imagery, whatever you want on this one. It's just very easy to make designs in Canva. You could go into the elements and get little icons and stuff that you want to add. And again, this is the full planner. And you could I have a little tutorial on how to edit these things. So in the blog, just type in Canva. And that's it. That is everything, all she wrote. Let me put the URL up here and come back. And I'm back. Now, it is over the allotted time, but if you guys have any questions, can you drop them in? Because I can hang on for a few more minutes, and then I do need to run. So let me know if you have any questions at all, and tell me whether this was valuable to you. Um, Deborah said, this was a great session, Sharon, with loads of good info and tips. Oh, I'm glad, Deborah. I'm glad you liked it. I hope, I want to hear how you're doing this stuff too, how you end up using it, because I know you use our courses a lot also. And MJ, you got your ChatGPT link. William had shared that, which is chat.openai.com. Barbara sent another awesome session. Thank you, Barb. I'm glad that was helpful. Any other questions? William said, great session. You're welcome. I'm glad you appreciate that. Do you guys want me to do, as I learn more about ChatGPT, do another session specific to creating courses? I mean, I know we create the courses for you, which is hours and hours and hours of time, even with ChatGPT's help. But I'd love to know if you'd like me to do more on that, if you want to be able to do stuff from scratch. Just so that you know, when you think about that, my personal recommendation is if we have a course that's already on a topic that you want to teach about, use ours, because unless your time is, just worth pennies, because for even our full price of $297 for our big ones, it will take you hours and hours and hours to create something like that from scratch, because we do the outline, the research, because you have to fact check everything. You need to research. You can't rely on ChatGPT for that. The structuring of the lessons, the coming up with the worksheets, deciding what is good, what isn't good for actually taking action. There's a lot of judgment and experience in there. But if you have a very narrow topic where you need something very, very specific, you have the expertise. You have to have the expertise in that. Then you can use it to save some time. What else? William said, is this for a beginner who wants to build an email list? No, this is not a course for beginners who want to build an email list. We have a course called How to Build an Email List from Scratch. And that is the one you would want if you're helping a beginner build an email list. This is for people, the Lead Generation Accelerator course is for people who already have a business, have a sense of their target client or know it, and are struggling to generate leads. So it would be the next level up, that struggling small business owner who needs to create a practical action plan. But look at How to Build an Email List from Scratch for that one. Deborah asks, have you used ChatGPT to suggest images to go with slides? No, I haven't done that. That's a great idea. Now I'm going to have to try that. We deliberately don't put images on our slides because number one is copyright. So for us to find images that you can use is really difficult because most of those are not very good. You can just go on, get really great deals on some stock photo places, or we put in that smart art as well, which is easy to edit and you don't have to worry about copyright. But I would use images sparingly and try asking ChatGPT for ideas. Just pick and choose which ones, or you're going to spend hours and hours on that. Or you could get a virtual assistant. If you train them on how to use ChatGPT, then they can use it. You have to train anyone who works for you on how to use it, how to use any AI tool so that they use it correctly, effectively, so they're asking the right questions, and ethically, because a big deal is you do not, I reiterate every single time, never, 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 never copy paste something from ChatGPT into your work. All right, that's really important. What else? Absolutely, on creating with ChatGPT. Okay, so you do want something on how to actually create a course with ChatGPT. I can go through that, not a problem. I'm still working it out because it's often doesn't come up with stuff that's very good, and it tends to be very broad. So you can ask it for a course on something specific, and it'll come up with something very broad, and you have to keep drilling down, which can take a while and not always be so great. William, you also want one was valuable. Um, yeah, I use AI PRM with Chat GPT Plus as well. That was what I was showing on the screen. That's what you saw at the bottom of the screen here. You see this thing at the bottom. I haven't been using it as much lately because I find that a lot of the prompts are not great. I tried it for a course outline too, and it was okay. It gives me ideas, especially when you can go back and look at how it structured the prompt. So I'm actually getting more out of it from that than the output it gives me. So if you have specific prompts that you found helpful, that would be you should let me know. And I'll give it a try. But I found so long as you have the level plan where you can see what the prompt was, I do find it helpful there. So yeah, AI PRM. I'm not gonna share the link on that. I don't want you to get guys to go off on a tangent. You'll go down a rabbit hole as well. Uh, and Kat, you said, "Just got off client call, so jumped on. Sorry, I missed this. Okay, a replay available after live is over. Thinking about purchasing." Yes, there is definitely going to be a replay. You're on YouTube, I see. We multi-stream this in 3 places. You should be able to watch this right afterwards. I will send out the link, I think, on Saturday. So I have some other stuff I'm gonna send you, like some free content tomorrow, but you should be able to watch it. Most of this session, I was talking about different prompts you can use with ChatGPT to customize your content. I used lead generation as an example, and I showed some of the content. So if you have other questions, just let me know. Okay. Um, Deborah said maybe then I could search find images faster. Yeah, for asking it to suggest things. Huge time suck for me to find the right images. Oh my God, it is absolutely a time suck. Um, give it a try and let us know how it goes. If it can suggest images for maybe I would try going into specific lesson topics and asking it to suggest images that would demonstrate that maybe. You don't want it to be the usual junky images, stock photo images that, have the person on the digital board or the robot or that sort of thing, or because sometimes with images, you want to get the sense of what you're talking about versus a literal representation, and Chat GPT can be very, very literal. So I'll be interested to see what you come up with. Eric also said, love to see more how you are using ChatGPT. Absolutely. And I can show you how we've started trying to use it a little bit with our course design. We don't really use it with the course creation because it doesn't know what's good or not, but it can give ideas. So it can give ideas of an outline, and then we can use our experience to drill down on different things of what to focus on and learning activities. But we're still working on that to see. I'm still trying to get it to save me time, and it's actually adding time. So I'm still working on that. Uh, ChatGPT is best tool to help in making your courses unique. Yep, I think you've seen some of that today. Um, what else? Cheryl said, I prefer to just let you know topics I need. Okay, you mean you don't want to create it all from scratch? Okay. Definitely let me know the topics you need. I'm actually sending a survey out on that to customers. Yeah, Canva, Sandra said Canva has AI capabilities now. OpenAI's image creator is pretty cool too. Um, I tried both of those and haven't had great results, but with AI, it's garbage in, garbage out, so I'm probably just not asking the right questions or giving it the right explanation. I find that with the images, you need to have some sort of idea in your head already of what you want, and if you're not a visual person to start with, it's hard to get the result, but I'm sure that's gonna improve over time for people that are not very graphically inclined like me. The Canva AI capabilities, I haven't had a lot of good luck with. Um, I did actually use it to help me create the presentation that I just did. And basically, I used the design and very little of the content, but it laid out some slide designs, and I just picked the one I liked and the format, and then I had to search for different images, and it gave a little bit of structure that I could use, but in general, I put in most of the work. So, and I know it has these suggest things that haven't suggested anything useful yet, but I'm sure, like everything else, it's gonna improve. So, um, the number of tools out there are all over the place. I think there's another image one called Magic Journey. I don't know. I was on another training about that, and I haven't tried that because you have to pick and choose what you're gonna focus on. I'll get there. Sandra said the magic is in the prompts and then editing to fit your voice. Yeah, I think that, hopefully you saw that today as well, that it's all about the prompts and what they call prompt engineering. I think that's gonna be a whole industry in itself of learning how to create the right prompts. It is something that I see people working on basically full time, learning how to do it. Again, I belong to this AI Success Club where we get prompts every week. I can share that with you, and they're going to actually do a presentation for us next month, I believe, on that. I would like to wait a little bit because they'll have more stuff to work with. Everyone's learning as we go along. So be careful of any of these courses that say they know it all already. You can get some ideas, but it's evolving every day. And you have to add specifics in your prompts and then edit. Deborah said, I am gonna, whoops. I worry about royalty-free copyrights situ using images on Canva because they have public uploads on there too. I did not. I always use the pro ones. I have a pro plan on Canva, so I always use the pro images, not the free ones. Um, I'm gonna look into that more. I assume the pro ones are okay to use. I also have a bunch of stuff from Deposit Photos, so that's interesting to know. I'll have to look into their details more, but I always just kind of assumed that they were okay to use. Anything else? Kat said, "Thanks, I use AI, so we'll view your session." Awesome. Um, Deborah said, "Yes, that's what I was thinking. It might give me something I could key into the search box. That's for finding images." Deborah also said, "Doesn't know what it doesn't know, but you do. That's the customization." Yeah, it doesn't have your expertise. You have to have the expertise. That's why if you're using it to write content, create content, and you don't know the topic, you're in big trouble unless you go and check everything because it will make things up. It will pull random stuff from the internet and put it in, or it'll put in things that are blatantly wrong. It's not fact checking because it doesn't know what it doesn't know. So just please remember that. Don't ever use that. And Ed said, oh yeah, Mid Journey, not Magic Journey. That's the other image one. Thanks. And that's everything. I'm going to let you guys go now. That was a long session. I hope that was helpful. Again, that's the thing that we just launched, the course we just launched called it says Lead Gen Strategies. It's the Lead Gen Accelerator course, contentsparks.com/lead gen strategies. And people will come away with a practical action plan for a lead generation campaign. They'll pick the lead generation strategies that work with their business model. And decide how they're going to qualify those leads and measure them as well. So take a look at that because the bonuses, those really good bonuses, are only going to be in the next few days. Plus, you'll save $200. So it's only $97 versus $297. So that should save you a ton of time, and it's all structured as a course. All the content's created, all the slides are created, all the worksheets are created already for you. So it's ready to go and just start you adding your insights, your voice, make it work for your market. And that will save you all the time in the world so you can get a course up and out there. And look for the bonuses because besides the 5-day challenge kit, there's that big planner, which the 55-page planner, which both of those will be paid items afterwards worth a couple $100 on their own. All right. I think that's it. There is one last comment I want to put in because it's interesting. Thanks, Sandra. I had it create my outline for an upcoming industry talk with examples to share. Then I popped in Canva to have it create slides. It's not foolproof, but does save a lot of time. You have to switch from creating mindset to editing and proofing mindset in order for it to be really useful. Yeah, and the other thing, you have to know your topic already as well. And when it comes to courses, it's very important to be able to judge what's an effective learning strategy, a learning experience or not. What's too much? What's too little? What's detailed enough? What's a good learning activity? What's a good resource? So you have to use your judgment and you have to put it all together and fact check everything. And then add in your own personal stories and insights. All right. So thank you for hanging in there all this time. And let me know if you have any questions. If there's anything on ChatGPT, I'll try to help or research it. And for the course as well, just send in any questions to support@contentsparks.com. That's there, and we will answer them. All right. Take care now and see you all soon.